Let's talk about something that not a lot of people are talking about. Chile. There's been a wave of major protests in their country that have left as many as 20 people dead and possibly many more missing and unaccounted for. This all started on October 6th when the government led by Sebastián Pieñera increased the metro fare by 4%. Students in Santiago then joined a mass fare dodging protest by the name of #Evasión Masiva to show just how fed up they are with their current administration and Chile's class inequality as a whole. This energized millions of Chileans to go out on the streets con ollas y sartenes to make sure that their voices get heard loud and clear. The majority of the protests have been peaceful, despite what the media has told you. And no, Piñera, no estamos en guerra. But you know who seems to think that we are? The police.
A UN human rights team, which has been interviewing those injured in the protest, has heard accounts of ruptured eyeballs, broken bones, and other injuries caused by police pellets and tear gas. So why there's people putting their bodies on the line for some extra pesos? Because this uprising is not just about metro fares. Esto fue la gota que rebalsó el vaso. And that cup has been filled with corruption, death, and lies for decades.
To understand all this, let's go back to the 70s real quick. Enter socialist president Salvador Allende. Allende attempted to nationalize public goods, such as healthcare, education, and agriculture, AKA, he wanted the government to run those things. Prior to Allende's election, the US saw his agenda as a threat to their foreign interests and started funding anti-Allende propaganda, metiéndose en weá que no le incumben. Later in 1973, there was a military coup that overthrew Allende and put in place a fascist dictator, Augusto Pinochet, in power.
Ok, llegó el momento de hablar de este conche su madre. Pinochet ended Chile's 46-year history of democratic rule. By some estimates, he arrested 130,000 of his constituents and dissenters in just the first 3 years of his regime. Many of them were tortured, and at least 1,100 of them disappeared. He ultimately suspended the old constitution, abolished minimum wage, and privatized the pension system and goods such as water. Because of the highly privatized economy, this has plunged nearly half of Chile's workforce population into debt. Pinochet's regime may have ended 30 years ago, but much of his constitution still lives on today.
Sebastián Pieñera, a multi-billionaire, is now president. And despite the country looking economically sound from the outside, it's deeply flawed from within. According to the National Statistics Institute, half of Chilean workers earn the equivalent of $550 a month or less. That's right, a month. According to the BBC, Chile continues to stand as one of the most unequal countries in the world.
So you think that's the only record we've broken? No. Chile also has some of the highest university tuitions in the world. These two factors have increased credit usage in the country among low-wage workers and college students. There are now more credit cards in Chile than there are citizens. For scale, there's 70 million people currently in Chile. And since Chile's pension system is also highly privatized, the payments are extremely low and leaving people to wonder how they'll ever retire. And now, on top of all of this, Piñera tried to increase metro fares. Lo que sucede en Chile no tiene que ver con la subida del metro, tiene que ver con varios gobiernos que le han fallado a la gente. Le han prometido un nivel de vida que no se ha concretado y por lo mismo llega un momento donde simplemente no se puede vivir con dignidad. Esa es la principal razón por la cual cientos de chilenos se han tomado las calles de su ciudad para expresarse y decirle al gobierno que no están de acuerdo con la forma en que han llevado la economía.
It's very important to raise awareness in this video because what is happening in the country of Chile can also be happening here. And it's so important because it can also help our own democracy.